Oh, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to the Fightful Select 205 Live NXT UK recap show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and we have got lots of stuff to talk about this evening on the recap show, where I go over arguably WWE's top three number one hours of programming that they do in a week. I am very, very happy to have you folks joining me today, whether it be live right here, as I do it live at 10 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday night, or whenever you like, whenever you do decide to come along and fire up your Fightful Select subscription that you subscribe to, because usually that's what a subscription does, to support Fightful and find all the extra content that you do have here, right here on Fightful Select. Podcasts like this one, like the retro pay-per-view reviews that I do with Sean Ross Sapp, speaking of which, who does the Fightful Report every Wednesday. The brand new one is out right now. Again, lots of great stuff. If you want to hear about the Eli Drake situation in Impact, it's definitely worth a listen. Have the Fightful, the Weekender Report, I mean, which is this every Saturday, and that's your boy Steven Jensen, who covers all non-WWE programming, because maybe you're just fed up of hearing Sean and Warren talk about WWE stuff all the time. So we have that there. We have Q&A sessions. If you're listening to this on the Wednesday, Sean is recording, I believe, tomorrow. So if you want to get your questions in, I know words. If you want to get your questions in, this is the time to do it. So yeah, it's your last chance, folks. Get that in. Check that out. It's a good time. Thank you for being with me. There's a couple of news items that we should talk about. First and foremost, takeover. The next takeover, actually, was supposed to take place in San Jose, was canceled, was actually moved. Rumor is that it has something to do with the Saudi Arabia show. Let's not focus on that. Earlier this week, it was announced that the next takeover would take place on June 1st, and it will be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm doing fine. I'm not having a stroke, folks. Don't worry, I'm all right. Bridgeport, Connecticut is going to be the location for the next takeover, and will be a particular takeover because it will be called simply Takeover 25 in Roman numerals. It is the 25th takeover event after all, so good, it makes sense to call it that. So that's exciting. Going to be looking forward to it. Of course, Fightful is going to have your post takeover recap over on the main YouTube channel. Sean, Alex, I'll probably be there as well. It's always a fun time to join the guys and talk about a takeover. It's always nice to see Alex smiling once in a while, since he doesn't have to watch Raw for once. Poor guy. I get the good end of the gig. This is always something I say. Alex watches 3 hours of Raw every week, and I get to watch 205 Live in NXT UK and talk about it. Another big, some good news. There's a report coming out of PW Insider that says that Mauro Ranallo has re-signed with WWE to remain NXT's lead announcer, and that is fantastic work. The deal was reportedly agreed about a month ago, and but we have no idea what the terms are or the length of the deal in and about itself. Ranallo will continue to do commentary work for other combat sports, though, outside of WWE. As you know, Mauro has done work for Showtime Boxing and Bellator, despite being signed to WWE. Man, that is such good news. I mean, NXT, Mauro is part of the NXT experience now. He understands pro wrestling. He loves to call pro wrestling. and he embodies exactly the energy and the aura, the atmosphere of what NXT is, especially during takeovers. I am thrilled that he's still there. Of course, you can go check out the entire report written by your boy Jeremy Lambert over on Fightful. There's a couple of more news items. Toni Storm versus Bea Priestley was pulled from the upcoming Stardom event. Priestley was recently crowned, recently won the Stardom Red Belt, and there was a match set up for her to fight Toni Storm. But the thing is that Priestley has also been recently signed to AEW. So Stardom announced on Tuesday night, this past Tuesday, on their social media that the upcoming fight between the two was being pulled from their May 16 event. The reason given was circumstances beyond your control. Thank you for your understanding. That's really interesting. I mean, we can speculate all we want. We don't know what the real reasons are. And Warren and myself, if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, so maybe you shouldn't be listening to me, but if I was a betting man, I would bet money on WWE saying, we're not having our gals going to fight their gals, their meaning AEW. So that's kind of a bummer, but so things go on as well. Again, you can read that report over on Fightful.com, and a bit of a distressing, something not so fun that popped out today that Jeremy Lambert also wrote about on Fightful.com. And that is Dominik Dijakovic has a torn meniscus, and he's going to undergo surgery, or he has undergone surgery. NXT star Dominik Dijakovic took to social media to announce that he underwent knee surgery in Orlando yesterday. And this is a report that they did that's from today. And saying that he had a torn meniscus. The report says the following, or not the report, but this is what Dijakovic said. I know that many of you, you'd consider this a burden or a setback, but not me. I consider this a gift. I'm happy that I had a tear in my meniscus. All right, because this represents sacrifice. This represents discipline. I had to rip away the weakness to rebuild it to be stronger than ever using my blood. When I was through, the only ones waiting for me were my family. This will drive me to return stronger than ever and regain what is rightfully ours, and that is the North American Championship. This is a bit of devastating news. It kind of sucks. It sucks a lot. Dijakovic was in the midst of a push. He was supposed to enter a feud with PWG alumni Keith Lee. And then Keith Lee got injured, and now he's injured. So that sucks. You can read Jeremy's full report over on Fightful.com as well. So that's a bit of an overview of NXT UK 205 live news that's occurring. There's also little other news bits that happened, but I'm going to say there were nice surprises for the show, so I'm going to keep them as surprises for us as well. We're going to start right now. We're going to dive right into talking about these shows. We're going to start talking about 205 Live. The show starts with Mike and Maria Kanellis and Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick basically putting each other over for their big no disqualification match for the evening. Apparently, Brian Kendrick is barred from ringside. A little later on, Drake Maverick would bar Maria Kanellis from ringside. So the question that I have here is, if it's a if it's a no DQ match, what's the point? What's the incentive of having Maria and Brian Kendrick be barred from ringside? What's the impetus to keep them from interfering in the match? I don't understand. That part doesn't make sense to me. Sometimes, and Sean and I, we talk about this sometimes. Sometimes it would make a lot of sense in storylines if WWE were to return to an idea where there's a purse, like there's actual money to winning matches, or that money has an influence on some decisions that happen. WWE likes to portray its superstars as being above money. They do it for passion. They do it for the sport, for entertainment, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, I think that a money stipulation, or at least something to add a little logic to this decision here, would have been useful, because there's no real reason for either Kendrick or Maria Kanellis, to not get involved. It's not as if they're going to lose the match. It's a no DQ. You can't get DQ'd. Anywho, instead of going too far on that, we're going to get Ariya Daivari, who comes to the ring to face his opponent, which is Noam Dar. This is part of the bit of news that I was telling you guys about. Noam Dar is back. Apparently, the knee injury he suffered a few months ago at an NXT UK taping was not as bad as anticipated. Thank goodness, because he had just had knee surgery, repaired his knee. So thankfully, it just required some rehabilitation. Now he's back. He's fine. And this won't be the last time. Tonight, we're going to talk about Noam Dar, but he was here on 205 Live to face Ariya Daivari. Tony Nese comes out to join the boys on commentary. And we also learned that next week we're going to have a match against Ligero next week, which is pretty cool. So the match starts with some back and forth, the usual fare. Noam Dar trips Daivari and taunts him a bit, which I enjoyed. I like Noam Dar. I like his character, little smarmy little son of a bitch. I like him. I think he's fun. I'm a Noam Dar fan. He does the rotating helicopter backslide pin thing, covers Daivari, but only gets 2. A dropkick sends Dar sends Daivari to the outside, who starts jawing at Nese, who's at the commentary table. The distraction allows Dar to get a few shots in, but Daivari drops Dar on the commentary table. Daivari then gets Dar back into the ring up top. Shenanigans ensue. It ends with Dar jumping off the top rope, rolling through, but walking right into a $1 million dream by Daivari. He then hits an inverted DDT, covers Dar for 2. Daivari then goes back to the outside to jaw jack with Nese some more. And again, and here, this is where I realized that the main problem that this match has, because Ariya Daivari is a talented guy, Noam Dar is fantastic. It doesn't have a good pace. They're not working a cruiserweight pace. They're working a very methodical, larger guy pace, and I don't quite understand why. Daivari did, he was in control for most of the match, and technically heels have slower offense, than baby faces do. But I mean, at some point, you do want to have a good cruiserweight type of match as well. Dar starts to fight back. He does his chop, body strike, and European uppercut combination. Hits a running forearm. His Northern Light suplex covers Daivari for 2. The Nova Roller is avoided by Dar, who rolls him up into a small package, but only gets 2. A sequence of offense is avoided by both men until Dar cranks in an ankle lock, but Daivari rolls through it. He hits a super kick on Dar, goes up top, and hits a big top rope splash, and it was a good one. It was a full-bodied splash. It was pretty impressive, and hits the hammerlock lariat to get the job done. And there you have it. Daivari wins in a very, very slow-paced, very bland match. And I don't have a tendency to say that a lot about the cruiserweights, but 205 Live, one of the essences of 205 Live is the guys work faster, more fast-paced, more moves. This was not it. It was very, very bland. And adding to the blandness here was Tony Nese on commentary, Ooh. He's not a natural talker, is he? He's a little vanilla. He got, sometimes Aiden English would throw him some questions, very basic questions, and you could feel he was a little thrown off. He managed through it. I mean, he didn't look bad per se, but it wasn't fantastic either. Let's just say that the talking isn't his thing, or at least talking as a babyface is not his thing. It was okay. Only promo. Only Lorcan cuts a promo, but if he ever keeps improving his promos, maybe he will become Oni Promo. The Singh brothers come out for a squash match against David Kaufman and David Lee. Basically, here all that happens is a double team suplex and their double team top rope diving elbow onto a backbreaker over the knee. That's a mouthful. That's it. And after the match, they call out Lucha House Party. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Next week, a fatal four-way is announced for next week. We're going to get Gentleman Jack Gallagher and Humberto Carrillo of 205 Live against Mark Andrews and James Drake. We're going to be back on 205 Live, so that's exciting. This is all happening because it's the European tour and they're going to England next week. They're going to be at the O2, so they're getting some NXT UK guys up there, which I'm okay with. And we have Gentleman Jack Gallagher cutting a promo, gets interrupted by Humberto Carrillo, where you can sense there's a little tension, but it's more respect. Calling back to when Drew Gulak was a jerk to both of them, they have respect for each other. So we'll see what happens next week in this fatal four-way. But now we're moving on to our no disqualifications main event, Akira Tozawa versus Mike Kanellis and the power of love. Tozawa goes right after Kanellis when the bell rings, and he clotheslines him over the top rope to the outside, and they're going immediately straight up the ramp. Kanellis is thrown into the LED boards. Tozawa brings him back down the ramp, locks him into the octopus, but Kanellis fights out and hits a side slam right on the ramp. Kanellis then starts going under the ring, pulling out some chairs and a table. Goes and sets it on the outside. He gets back on Tozawa and scoop slams him onto the floor, then goes for another table and sets it right next to the first one. So you got two properly set tables right there. We go back into the ring. Tozawa hits a Hurricane Rana. He runs the ropes and dives out on Mike Kanellis, who cuts him off with a super kick. Rolls Tozawa back in, covers him, but only gets two. He suplexes Tozawa and then sets up some chairs, basically like seat to seat, right? You know, with the backs of the chairs facing away from each other. They try basically, so he tries to suplex Tozawa on it. Tozawa blocks. Then he spins around and he tries to suplex Kanellis on it. Then Kanellis turns around and he tries to suplex Tozawa, and so on and so forth. Neither get the advantage until Tozawa finally drops him. We're on the outside. Tozawa tosses Kanellis over the commentary table and he covers him with a trash can. Tozawa gets back into the ring and he does one of his crazy like head first dives right into the trash can. So he hurts himself in the process too. You know, those steel trash cans. Aluminum is a form of steel, isn't it? Tozawa then goes up top, hits a missile drop kick, covers Kanellis, but only gets two. Tozawa then tries to hit a German suplex on Kanellis onto the trash can. There's some stand and switch that happens, but finally Kanellis hits a Michinoku driver onto the trash can. Covers Tozawa, but only gets two. There's some strikes that follow, some chops, some kicks. We have a super kick, a spinning kick that follows, and then it ends with a German suplex by Tozawa, who covers Kanellis, who kicks out at two. They slug it out some more, some back and forth, some big stripes. Well, there could be some stripes as well, but we're talking about strikes here. They slug it out on the apron with some back and forth. They're on the apron now. Tozawa hits a German suplex on Kanellis right on the apron. Then Tozawa drags Kanellis over to the tables and he puts them on top. Tozawa goes to the top turnbuckle, but Kanellis rolls off the tables. Smart man. Tozawa then comes over to try and collect Kanellis, but he eats a super kick instead. And now Tozawa is on the table. Kanellis goes up top, but Tozawa jumps off the table, runs up and kicks Kanellis off the top turnbuckle. He falls into the ring. And there's a tease where Tozawa tries to superplex Kanellis through the table, but Kanellis instead gets him up into a fireman's carry. They're menacing to drop him onto the tables, but instead, Tozawa hits a Hurricane Rana through the tables, from the turnbuckle, through the tables. And of course, it's not false count anywhere, so there can be a pin. So he gets Kanellis back in. He stacks some chairs on top of him, hits his diving senton, and Tozawa gets the win. What are they doing with Mike Kanellis? I really don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're trying to do with this character. I have no clue. Like at some point I was like, okay, well, they're doing the, he's searching for himself, looking for a direction, trying to get back on top, but he's just losing week in and week out. He gets one win, then next big win he loses, and he loses because Maria's not there. So can he only win when Maria's there? Is it truly the power of love? Maybe that's his thing. Maybe it's not as much. Maybe the thing is a lot more. Maybe it's an allegory for life or for love. You know, you will have some success perhaps in life without someone you love, but when the person who loves you is by your side, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can't do. I think I'm putting too much thought into it. That's what I think. This was an okay episode of 205 Live. Main event was okay. But as far as no disqualification 205 Live matches go, we've seen nuttier than that. It was fine. And the opening match was, I didn't care for it much. Let's move on to NXT then, talking about things that we're going to care about tonight. Oh boy. Business is about to pick up. We're opening the show with Mia Yim versus Bianca Belair. They've been at each other's throats. And I am all about this match. Two powerful ladies, some powerful women, strong offense. Let's go. Headlocks, takedowns, head scissors at first between both women. There's some arm drags. They get into an arm drag stalemate. They get into a drop kick stalemate. Crowd's into it. Yim extends a hand for a show of respect, but Belair kicks her down. Yim with a drop kick of her own. She socks Belair. She gets another one in. Yim is going all in with some strikes. She hits a Pele kick. She goes for a couple kick, but it misses, and Belair gets into control of this match. She starts stomping Mia Yim in the corner, and you know what? Bianca Belair has a beautiful stomp. It just dawned on me tonight looking at her. The way she lifts her leg, she lifts it really high. She folds her knee, and the extension that she brings onto it, it looks really good. She has a really good corner stomp. It looks good. So after this series of stomps, she covers Yim, but only gets two. Belair works some more on Yim, hits a big splash, covers her again, only gets two. She hits a reverse power bomb having Yim land on the top turnbuckle, covers her again, but only gets two. Belair starts some trash talking. She starts slapping her ass in front of Yim. And Yim just boots her away and she says, "Get that out of my face." Indeed. Well said. There's a couple of near fall pins, but Mia Yim gets a guillotine with body scissors on Belair, but Belair is able to power out with a snap suplex. Nice shit, pal. Covers, but only gets 2. Belair moves in with a cravat, but Mia Yim is able to sling out of it. Belair goes for another splash, but Yim lifts the knees this time. Comes back fighting with some chops, a kick, and a shotgun drop kick. Running cannonball into the corner. And then Yim hits a tarantula. She goes for a sunset flip, but Belair holds the ropes. So the pin doesn't, and Bianca tries to sit on Yim for the pin, but she's holding the ropes, and the ref asks her to break it up. When she does, Yim rolls Belair up, who rolls out of the pinfall attempt back into the seated position, but instead of holding the ropes, she whips her hair around the second rope and she holds her hair that's twisted around the second rope, assisting enough to get the pin on Mia Yim and completely baffling the referee in the meantime, who did not see that she was using her hair as extra leverage. She saw her using her arms, but the hair, maybe it was, maybe just because her hair is black, because of the lighting, couldn't quite make it out. I don't know. Maybe she thought it was some kind of shadow. I don't know what the referee saw there. I liked the finish. I thought it was fun. And Bianca goes up and she's very, very satisfied. A good win for her. Mia Yim still manages to look strong. Here's the thing. Mia Yim has had some high-profile matches with some high-profile protected women in NXT. Bianca, Shayna. But she still manages to look strong even in defeat. She's being booked very, very well. So the minute that they decide to strap a rocket to her, she's going to be a very credible opponent to whoever she moves on to. So I'm excited about that. They're doing a good job with Mia Yim. Bianca needed the win here. I think it's the right call. And the way it finished, I liked it. I thought it was just stupid enough. Silly, good old-fashioned, silly wrestling. I liked it. Next, commentary tells us that we have some shocking footage to look at. It's some shocking footage of the War Vikings. No, the Viking Raiders. No, the Raider Viking Wars. The Raider Vikings. The Viking Raiders, whatever they're called. They get ambushed by the Forgotten Sons of all people in what I think it's Nigel. I don't remember if it's Nigel or Percy refers to this ambush as a calculated military-like attack by the Forgotten Sons. And they're like, no. They're trying a little too hard. Now they're trying to make us believe that like Jackson Riker could come up with that kind of scheme. And I'm like, no, commentary. Jackson Riker couldn't come up with that. Maybe Wesley Blake did. Maybe he's the brains of the operation. I don't know. But apparently, the Viking Raiders. I'm sorry, I'm still not quite used to the name changes yet. There's been too many. From War Machine to War Raiders to Viking Experience to Viking Raiders. You got to give me a chance here, folks. You got to let it sink in a little bit. But we're going to learn in a couple of weeks. War Machine. Oh God, see, the Viking Raiders are going to address the NXT universe about regarding their future, because they are on Raw. We see them on Raw, and they don't have the NXT titles on Raw. So what are they going to do? Well, their future is going to be addressed. And now that they've been attacked by the Forgotten Sons, does this mean that the Forgotten Sons are being lined up for a tag team title, for the tag team titles? Not sure how you feel about that. But yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. Next, we have Shayna Baszler and the Horsewomen who are running drills at the PC when suddenly Io Shirai attacks Shayna Baszler from behind, starts beating up on her. Then, of course, the Horsewomen stop their drills and they start beating up on Io. And then Candice LeRae, I think it's Candice LeRae, runs in to try and help. And then you have all sorts of trainers coming in from the PC. Man, what a schmoz. I know, Io's mad. She's angry. Next match we have of the night, and also includes a bit of news here, Raul Mendoza versus Riddick Moss, who is back from his injury, sans Tino Sabatelli, which is a shame. We'll see what's going on with old Tino. I like Tino Sabatelli. I hope he's okay. But nonetheless, right now, Riddick Moss is back, and that's always a good thing. It's nice to see guys and girls who've been out with injuries, have them come back. That's good. And he's doing something. He has a gimmick now called the Riddick Regimen, putting over the fact that it put him on the fast track to recovery. That, had he listened to his medical personnel, the doctors that were treating him, he would have been out much longer. But he took things into his own hands and he developed his own regimen, DDP Yoga. the Riddick Regimen. And he has branding and everything. He has a bottle and it's written. And he takes a sip and he does like some meditation, a little mindfulness before entering the ring. It's important. So the match starts. There's some back and forth to start. Mendoza hits a Saito suplex on Moss early on, and then Moss sort of goes to the outside after the move, and he grabs some kind of, I guess it's a massager, or like as if I hang out in the gym and I know what these types of equipment are, and he sort of starts massaging like his bicep, because he got tossed around a bit, like it needed some loosening up. I thought that was pretty funny. I think I'm going to enjoy this gimmick. Mendoza avoids a bunch of Moss's offense. He gets in some kicks. He avoids Moss in the corner. Enziguri springboard Hurricane Rana follows then, and a running shooting star press that Mendoza almost like overshoots, but he's okay. He lands on him, covers Moss. Only gets two. He hits a springboard body press and he's caught by Riddick Moss, who starts curling him, which I thought was pretty funny. Then hits an overhead slam. He sits down and has a moment of zen. Again, a little mindfulness as the match goes on. He gorilla presses Mendoza, covers him for two. Goes to the outside, gets his bottle of the Riddick Regimen and offers Mendoza a sip, but Mendoza just slaps it away. Get that out of here. Moss charges him, but Mendoza gives him a kick to the knee. Some strikes follow, a jumping Enziguri, flying head scissors, hits another Enziguri in the corner. Mendoza goes up to the top rope and hits a slingshot corkscrew splash. He covers Riddick Moss and wins. Raul Mendoza, for the first time in like 2 years, wins a singles match, or I think it's the first time, wins a singles match on NXT, and that threw me for a bit of a swerve. That was a bit of a curveball that was given there. Didn't expect that, especially, when Moss comes in with this very fleshed out, established character. They want to, but the with the regimen thing. Don't get me wrong, Raul Mendoza is fantastic. Let's give him some time. Let's let that guy glean. But, I'm just a bit surprised, and I'm okay with being surprised. I like These kinds of surprises keeps us on our toes. Let's see where this, how far this one's going to go. Main event time. Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole. We're so blessed to be getting this on television. This was good shit, pal. I mean, this is some takeover level stuff here, folks. And we're just getting it on a plain old Wednesday night. But there's nothing plain old about this match. Let me tell you. Riddle starts waist-locking Cole. Takes him down a few times early on in the match. Cole scrambles to get out. He's having a hell of a time trying to, but finally he does get to the outside for a quick stall. Cole fights back with some strikes. He gets a headlock in, but he gets taken down by Riddle, who floats over, and Riddle gets a headlock of his own in. Riddle shoulder blocks Cole down and then sentons him, covers Cole, but only gets two. Then Riddle wraps his arms around Cole's waist, hit for a gut wrench, and he suplexes Cole. He gut wrench suplexes not once, not twice, but 3 times. I'm a big fan of Riddle's gut wrench suplexes. Won't deny that in a court of law. Cole fights back, though. Riddle gets him down with a kick. Cole strikes at Riddle, hits a neck breaker, and locks in a dragon sleeper as well. But Riddle fights out. But Riddle fights out, whips into the ropes, but eats an Adam Cole back elbow. He starts talking trash at Riddle, says, "I'm an uncrowned champ, and you're nothing. Matt Riddle, what have you done?" They strike. Cole hits with some forearms. Riddle with some open palms. Jumping Enziguri follows, but Riddle no-sells it and Germans Cole right on the mat. Some more palm strikes by Riddle follow. A kick to Cole's head. Running forearms, an exploder suplex, a senton, a penalty kick. He covers Adam Cole for 2. Jesus. He deadlifts German suplexes Adam Cole into a bridge, and it only gets 2. Cole finally gets some offense in when he gets a Ushigashushu and Ushigoroshi in. He covers Riddle, but only gets 2. Goes for a suplex, but it's blocked. Instead, Riddle hits a ripcord knee. Riddle is doing everything he wants tonight. And he's pulling out moves. It's like, what? How many moves does this guy have in his arsenal? It's like you're playing 2K19 and you just stack the guy with just all the most impossible moves that everyone, that with all the big moves that everyone has. It's ridiculous. Riddle gets Adam Cole up into a fireman's carry, pops him up, but Cole, as he's in the air, reverses into a backstabber. That was nice. He covers Riddle for 2.9. Cole stomps on Riddle's foot. He angles him up for a super kick, but it's reversed into an ankle lock. And then that's reversed into a bromission. And that gets reversed into a pin by Adam Cole. So Riddle has to release the hold. Riddle gets back in control and hits not one Fisherman Buster suplex, but hangs onto it and hits a second one. He hangs onto it, goes for a third one, but Cole reverses it into the over-the-knee brain buster that he does, which was once called the last shot, but it's not the last shot anymore. But that's what he did. And he covers Matt Riddle for 2.9. The more strikes by Matt Riddle follow. The Panama Sunrise is reversed. There's a whole bunch of strikes that are avoided by both guys that ends with a kick to the back of Riddle's head. Adam Cole then follows up with the last shot, and he covers Riddle for 2.9. More knees by both guys follow. There's a GTS by Riddle, a power bomb, a knee to Adam Cole's face. Riddle is just on fire. Roderick Strong comes out. He starts helping Cole up on the outside of the ring. Strong eats a penalty kick off the apron by Riddle. The ref is trying to get Strong out of the ring. Cole gets back into the ring. He hits a super kick on Riddle, covers, but Riddle reverses it into a bromission, and Adam Cole taps out. Oh, this was a hell of a match. This is the very definition of good shit, pal, right here. That was a lot of fun. And it was, look, for some peculiar reason, I'm just throwing this out there. This might be a little editorialization here, but for some reason, there are people out there who have difficulty getting behind Matt Riddle. We're like, I don't get the appeal. I don't see what's so great about him. Well, I think all those people should watch the May 8th edition of NXT and watch this match, because it will convert non-believers into believers. This match was extraordinary. It was so much good. So much good. Just like all my vocabulary tonight is so much good. It was really special. It was a lot of fun, and it was the Matt Riddle show, and we were all better off for it. After the match, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong exchanged some heated words. Undisputed Era is not fine. I'm going to turn that, and I'm going to make a meme out of that. Undisputed Era is not fine. You have Kyle O'Reilly trying to calm Adam Cole down. You have Bobby Fish trying to calm Roderick Strong down. Is there going to be a split? Is this the end of Undisputed Era? They're telling an interesting story anyway. And since the start of 2019, the Era can't get their shit together. Adam Cole is having difficulties. Everyone's having trouble except for Roderick. We'll see what happens as we go along. But anyway, fun episode of NXT UK. Just NXT. We're moving on to NXT UK, but it was a fun episode. I suggest you watch it. It's good stuff. Just take a bit of water here before we enter the final show that we're going to talk about this evening, NXT UK. And it starts off with everybody's favorite assistant general manager to Johnny Saint, Sid Scala, who says that we're starting tonight. We are going to be treated to qualification matches to set up a fatal four-way in 4 weeks to determine the number one contender for the NXT UK title, the next challenger after Walter versus Dunn 2. I like that. I like this kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for this stuff. Contenderships, tournaments. I'm a sucker for this stuff. I love it. I'm into it. I love this. So that's good. But we're starting with the tag team match. Mustache Mountain versus The Hunt. Mustache Mountain comes out to Tyler Bates' solo theme instead of the typical Mustache Mountain one. I don't know if that's a mistake, if that's a one-time thing, or if they're actually changing. But if they're changing, it's a bad idea, because the Mustache Mountain theme is underrated. It's underappreciated. It's one of the best themes in all of WWE. You have to keep that one going. The Hunt, of course, are Wild Boar Mike Hitchman and Primate J Melrose, who apparently have lost their names. They're now officially part of WWE because they're no longer referred to as Mike Hitchman or J Melrose. It's just Wild Boar and Primate. Welcome to WWE, boys. So it's Tyler Bate and Wild Boar who start off the match. Bate hits a flying body press. He's caught by Boar, but Bate just shifts his weight forward and he falls on top of Wild Boar, covers him, and gets 2. 7 then comes in and gets immediately tossed into the heels corner. 7 tries to battle back with some chops, but Primate gets all fired up with those chops. He gets a couple of chops on him like that, where Primate seems to be hulking up a bit, and 7's like, wait, what do I do here? So he chops him a little low. Wouldn't call it a low blow necessarily, but not necessarily a low blow, but it was a little low. Nigel tried to pass it off as, you hit him on the thigh. Nah, it wasn't the thigh. It wasn't the thigh. Boar comes in to check on his partner, and when they're all on the outside, and 7 torpedoes himself with a dive to the outside on both of the heels. Primate gets back in. 7 goes up top. Wild Boar distracts 7 long enough for Primate to hit a suplex, I should say. Trent 7 off the second turnbuckle, covers him, but only gets 2. Boar is back in and hits a senton on Trent 7. He knocks Tyler Bate off the apron. 7 tries to hit some strikes. However, the 7-star lariat is missed. He eats a spear by Boar. A double team slam and assisted senton follows by the Hunt. 7 is covered by Primate, but kicks out at 2. 7 finally makes the hot tag to Tyler Bate. Comes in with some jabs and some body shots, a Hurricane Rana, running European uppercut follows, a knee lift, flying uppercut off the second turnbuckle, an exploder suplex, standing shooting star press, covers Boar for 2.9. Bate then picks Wild Boar up into a fireman's carry position. Airplane spins him and tosses him onto Primate. Trent 7 comes in. They hit a double team side suplex. Backdrop driver by 7 covers Boar, but only gets 2. He goes for the boys go for the assisted burning hammer, but Boar avoids it. Some double team offense takes Tyler Bate down, but they cover him, but 7 avoids Primate to break the pin up. This match comes to a halt when Mustache Mountain hit their clothesline dragon suplex combo. Gets the win. Fun match to start this off. Mike Hitchman, man, I really dig him. I love his style. I love how how he works the pace of his matches. Bate and 7, well, what can you say? They've been working together for years, and individually or as singles competitors, they're fantastic. This was a fun match to open the show. Tag teams. This entire episode of NXT UK is bookended by tag teams. 2 great tag team matches. Spoiler. Next, we get some breaking news from backstage. Amir Jordan is hurt. He has been blindsided and attacked, and he is taken into the trainer room. So we don't know what's going on. But rest assured, folks, Sid Scala is there. He's got this under control. Next match we have is the first Fatal 4-Way contendership match. Joe Coffey versus Flash Morgan Webster. Coffey is out with his Gallus boys, all gentlemen from Scotland, and they are in Glasgow for this match. So big reception for the hometown boy. Coffey starts early on with his necessary strength advantage over Flash Morgan Webster, keeping the Mod Father under control. Webster's speed allows him to get a headlock on, but he can't do much with it. This Coffey's a big lad. Coffey shoulder blocks Webster down to raucous cheers from the audience. Webster hits a springboard dropkick that takes Coffey down to the floor, and that generates a series of boos from the audience. So, as the match progresses, Joe Coffey's offense gets roaring cheers from the audience, whereas everything that Flash Morgan Webster does gets jeered and booed. So I don't know exactly if this was planned, if this was something that they discussed, that they expected, but it kind of feels like as they started gauging these reactions, Joe Coffey started acting more like a babyface, and Webster started mugging at the audience and started to play off more as a heel. I thought that was interesting. And if this was some on-the-fly switcheroo to make the match better for the audience, well, good on them. We're back in the ring here after a reverse senton splash by Flash Morgan Webster. He covers Coffey, but only gets 2. Coffey whips Flash Morgan Webster top turnbuckle, and then he starts flinging him over and over again into the corners to, again, great reactions from the crowd. He does his double underhook big spin into the butterfly suplex, covers Webster, but only gets 2. Gets a full Nelson on Webster. He breaks out of it. The crowd doesn't like it. Webster runs the ropes and runs right back into another full Nelson, and the crowd loves it. Webster then rolls out and gets Coffey into a crucifix, pins him for 2, or covers him for 2. Flying crossbody on Coffey. He ground and pounds him, and he starts, and again, right here, I wrote it down in my notes, he mugs to the audience. And, Webster doesn't necessarily have that much of a ground game, so I thought it was interesting that he did that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they're doing some stuff on the fly here, starting to heal it up. He hits another Webster does another flying cross body, and this one sends Coffey to the floor. That was pretty cool. He hits a toe pick on Hilo onto Coffey, who's on the outside. Back in the ring, he hits the rude boy block. Coffey tries to battle back. He goes for all the best for the bells, but it's met with a big knee. Webster covers Coffey for 2.9, and the crowd did not want that to happen. Webster goes up top, hits a swanton bomb, or at least flies off with a swanton bomb, but man, does he eat a pair of legs. Joe Coffey's legs, landing hard in the middle of the back. Coffey ends up hitting all the best for the bells to a big, big pop from the crowd. They were into it. Coffey was too. So he advances. He will be in the final 4. Then the Gallus boys all join him in the ring. And they cut a promo about this not being your kingdom. This is our kingdom. Joe Coffey says he runs this city like he runs NXT UK, and everyone is cheering. Everyone's happy. Wolfgang starts calling out Dave Mastiff, but the Coffey boys sort of calm him down. Take it easy, take it easy. That's good. We get a Pete Dunne training montage to show how he's training to face Walter again. And then we get another little hype package because Ilya Dragunov is debuting next week. People, make sure you don't miss that. That's going to be fun. Next, we have Nina Samuels, finally, in action against Casey Owens. A bit of a showcase match here for Samuels. She does some stretches on Owens, hits a drop kick to her back. Owens tries to battle back, but she eats a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. And the match comes to an end when Samuels hits her Ushigoroshi, which she calls the Nina Goroshi, which I didn't know. I think that's cool. I like it. And she wins the match. Again, not much to it, but, it's okay to have Nina Samuels be showcased like that. However, get her into matches with great women soon. Let her really uncork because Nina Samuels is great. Just like everyone, all the women on the NXT UK roster are fantastic. There is not a slouch in the bunch. After the match, Samuel talks about Toni Storm. Says she's out living her dreams and enjoying her rock and roll lifestyle. And she hopes she is enjoying her lifestyle because she abandoned her single mother and her baby sister to live out her dreams. Attacking her character, our champion. Anyway, I'm all down for Nina Samuels versus Toni Storm. That'll be fun. Dave Mastiff is cutting a promo. We're talking about his match next week against Wolfgang. And as the press starts to disperse, Kaylee Ray arrives and she says, "No, you guys, you're not done here. You guys stay here, except for you. I don't want to talk to you." And she just cuts a really quick but fantastic promo on Nina Samuels, saying, "Yeah, this is how you want to play it because I'm next in line," kind of thing. And she does it so effortlessly. She has such natural charisma. She's so good. So next week, we're getting Dave Mastiff versus Wolfgang for a qualifying match. And we're also getting Ligero versus Jordan Devlin. Any week with Jordan Devlin on my television is a better week. Main event time, we have the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. But anyway, the Grizzled Young Veterans come into the ring and everyone takes their shoes off already. Zach Gibson has a microphone and he says, "I heard from a very reliable source that Amir Jordan is injured and so there won't be any match tonight." He says, "Look, I'm dressed to compete, guys. I'm just as good at it as you are, but there's no match. There's no fairy tale ending that's going to happen." And Kenny Williams interrupts and he says, "Yeah, I think you guys might have something. You guys might know something about Jordan's injury tonight, huh? But lucky enough, I have other mates," is what he says. And he has Amir Jordan replaced by Noam Dar. And what's gets a huge reaction from the crowd because both Williams and Dar are from Glasgow, or at least I know Williams is from Glasgow. They're both from Scotland. They're both Scottish boys. So the guy gets a huge reaction from the crowd. This is good booking. Good booking. Gets the crowd excited. That's fun stuff. And as they hit the ring, they just start wailing into each other. It's a brawl. We have a brawl going, folks. Gibson and Dar get back in the ring. He gets a drop kick on Gibson. He does his throat chop, midsection chop, uppercut combination, running forearm, Northern Light suplex, covers Gibson, but only gets 2. But the Grizzled Young Veterans get in control. Drake hits a big forearm, takes Dar out. And then they do that their double team knee drop off the apron onto the other guy who's over the knee, on the outside. However, instead of it being a backbreaker this time, they've lodged Noam Dar's injured knee there. So they do that instead, working on the knee. Makes sense. I like it. It's good tactics, good shit. There's a lot of offense from that follows from both Drake and Dar, but Drake starts working the injured knee. There's an awkward spot where Dar is not supposed to get the tag in to Kenny Williams at this point. I don't know exactly where the screw up was, but he literally comes in too close and Williams pulls his hand away because it's not time for the hot tag. Like, he was that close. He just had to yank his hand away. I was like, wait, is this a heel turn? No, it's just a botch. Gibson prevents, but then soon thereafter, Gibson prevents a legitimate hot tag by flinging Williams off the apron. Williams then goes after Drake with a hot tag. Springboard body press follows. He drives Drake headfirst into the turnbuckle. Williams with a diving knee on Gibson was on the apron, hits a wrecking ball drop kick on Gibson's on the outside this time. Drake picks Williams up, but he reverses it into a tornado DDT, covers Drake, but only gets 2. Williams does a springboard truss dive from the turnbuckle to the outside on the Grizzled Young Veterans. Thankfully, they weren't very further than they were because that was It was a short dive. He didn't get much distance on it. I don't think that was really well timed, but no one got hurt. And that's really all that counts. There's a fun spot here where Dar gets Gibson into a knee bar. Then, oh no, wait, it's not just yet. But I will hang on. Let me get to that spot here. Drake is in a knee bar. Dar gets Drake into a knee bar. Then Williams comes in. Or actually Gibson comes in with Williams right behind him, and Williams gets Gibson in a knee bar, and the crowd is going nuts for this. And you have everyone in the ring, knee bars locked in, and they're all stomping on each other to try and get the other guys to submit. That was a fun spot. And the baby faces basically let go of their knee bars, but then they clinch back into them. They clinch back into the holes, but finally Gibson shoves Williams onto Dar. And then all the guys take each other out with some kicks. So that was a lot of fun. Good spots there. Drake eventually gets a single leg crab on Noam Dar, locking into his injured knee. He goes to tap, but Kenny Williams comes in to keep him from tapping. Williams and Gibson then trade some strikes. Dar eats a ticket to ride as he's pushing Williams out of the way. Williams then hits a sunset flip bomb on Gibson, covers him for 2.9. Drake wraps the injured knee around, wraps Noam Dar's injured knee around the post. So Williams is left alone to fight off both heels, but there's only so much he can do. He eats a helter-skelter, and Drake's 450 splash for the win. The Grizzled Young Veterans retain. And that was a good, fun tag team match, you guys. That was really helped with the crowd. The crowd was really primed into it. Good booking all around for this edition of NXT UK. Hope the women keep. That's all. My only issue is that I just want them to take care of their women. Fine, Nina Samuels gets her squash match tonight, but let's not make a habit out of it. Great episode of NXT UK. Definitely need to check it out. You definitely have to check out as well Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole tonight. That was fantastic. It's the type of performance that makes you realize why Matt Riddle is so special. Just like I'm so special to do this every week for you guys, right? Right. I do it out of love, love of wrestling, and because I like to talk about it, and I hope you guys like to hear me talk about it. And do think if you ever have the opportunity, come join me live every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And do check out all the great offerings that we have here on Fightful Select. We can't thank you enough for your support of Fightful. And my name is Mr. Warren Hayes. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes. And I'll see you next time.